Hello friends, welcome to my channel Botanical Concept, and today we are going to talk a topic which is consist of the little bit scientific and little bit overview scenario of the COVID-19 pandemic. And our topic is that the viral mutation or the coronavirus mutation. So before we are going to talk about our topics, first of all we have to know why we are discussing about on this topic today, right? So as we see, the day by day the COVID-19 new cases has been increased so fast. So what may be the reason behind that? So there are mainly two regions behind that. One is the social region and second one is the scientific region, right? And the social region include the people are not wearing masks, they do not maintain the social distancing and all. These are comes under the social region. But in the side of the scientific region include the viral mutation, right? So as there are two new strain of virus, that is the Brazilian strain of virus and the UK strain of virus, right? So these two strain of virus are not different from the early stage of virus. Both are same, but little bit changes see in the case of new strain of virus. So today's we are going to see. So let's see, this is a virus, right? And this virus is made up of the two things, that is protein and the nucleic acid, right? In the case of virus, the nucleic acid is RNA, that is a ribonucleic acid, right? And this is the virus. This is surrounded by the protein. It is called as membrane protein, and this is known as the spike protein. And inside the virus, the nucleic acid are present. These are the nucleic acid, which is the RNA here, right? In the case of virus, they contain RNA as their genetic materials, right? So the virus also do replication, right? But in the air, as we know, the virus bacteria are surrounded our environment anywhere. So that's why these are known as a cosmopolitan, but they do not replicate outside the host. They only replicate inside the host. For the replication, they must need a host of, that is their living organism's body, right? So they do replication. Replication means simply one to many, right? One to many. To production of same type of virus from one to many is known as the replication, right? So in the early stage of virus, when they replicate inside our human body, we get vaccinated our body, and when we vaccinated our body, our body produce antibody which is looks like Y shaped, and this Y shaped antibody goes to the virus particles and join with them like in this manner, and they completely detect or kill to them. And our vaccines is almost 80 to 90% efficient for early stage of virus. So this is the overview scenario of early stage of virus, that is how virus infect to us and how our immune system responds and how it generate antibody and how it kills those virus inside our body and make our body to healthy body, right? So this is the overview scenario of early stage of virus. Now in the new strain of virus, what we are seeing, right? What we are seeing in the new strain of virus, we are seeing that the same virus, what the virus particles are changed. So how the change occurs in the new strain of virus, right? So this is the new strain of virus, which is consist of two type of nucleic acid. One is the RNA of early stage, and one is the new strain of RNA, and as well as the spike protein also modified and mixing with the two, that is the early stage of spike protein as well as the new strain of spike protein. So in the case of new strain of virus, this is the new strain of virus. The new strain of virus modified itself, right? Virus modified itself, and it contained both new and early strain of virus particle, and we call it as the new strain of virus, right? So what is new strain of virus? New strain of virus is nothing but new strain of virus consists of both earlier strain virus nucleic acids and protein, as well as the new strain of nucleic acid and protein, right? So new strain of virus is the modified version of the early stage of virus, right? So which we know that virus contain the nucleotides, that is the G for guanine, A for adenine, U for uracil, C for cytosine, right? So if let's assume if the early stage of virus contain this nucleotide sequence, that is the G U A U C G, but when it modified itself, the nucleotide change, the nucleotide sequence change will be occurs, that is GGA, U is replaced by A and C is replaced by G, that is the new strain of virus will be contain this arrangement of nucleotides, that is GGA, AAU, GG, right? And when its nucleotide rearrangement occurs, then it totally different from the early stage of virus or the earlier strain of virus. So this thing going on today, right? So at your virus modified itself with the only few places, not overall, right? Because in these cases viral component change few places, not the all places or not the all portion, and this scenario is known as the genetic drift, right? So what is genetic drift? Genetic drift means the early stage strain of virus modified itself in some places, like the some places of nucleotide sequence and some places of the spike protein places. So this thing, the change of some sequence of a viral strain, is known as the genetic drift, right? So this is the genetic drift, right? So genetic drift. Now we are going to talk about the genetic shift, right? So what is genetic shift? Genetic shift means the virus modified itself totally, right? Right, the totally means what? The virus change itself, its total nucleotide sequence as well as the protein sequence. This thing is known as the genetic shift, right? And the genetic shift is much more dangerous as compared to the genetic drift, because in the case of genetic drift, it only changed or modified some places of sequences, which may be nucleotide sequence or it may be protein sequence. But in the case of genetic shift, the virus changed or modified the overall sequence of its body part of the viral component sequence, and to produce a new hybrid variety of virus, which is much more dangerous, and our vaccines will not effective against this hybrid type of virus, right? But now we have no any clue or evidence that the early stage of virus modified itself to genetic shift, right? But the evidence or clue may indicate that the virus may be modified itself according to the genetic drift. So that is common. That is the virus or the virus are mutate spontaneously at any type of environment, any type of change in environment, temperature, and all, because the viral mutation is spontaneous. It always occurs inside our surrounding environment. So that is not the things, right? But if the genetic shift will be occurs, then that is very dangerous for us, because genetic shift is Its genetic shift contain the newly nucleic acid sequence, newly protein sequence, and when this hybrid type of virus enters to our body, then our immune systems uh, does not produce antibody against this hybrid type of virus, right? But in the case of genetic drift virus, and the genetic drift virus when attack to us, then our body can generate antibody against this genetic drift type virus, as our antibody known well to this genetic drift virus or the early or old strain of virus, because our immune systems is very pretty good against this virus, as our immune system know its protein code. So that's why our body can generate the specific antibody against this virus. Now the question is that the vaccines which now have is effective or not. Then the answer is yes. The vaccines which we have now is effective nearly 80 to 90% against this genetic drift or virus or the new strain of virus. So this is a true thing, right? This is the not myth, this is the true thing, that the vaccines which have is effective against this new strain of virus. But we have sure, but we need to very sure that the genetic shift will not occur, because if the genetic shift will occur, then it will brings another pandemic which is more dangerous. So all free that the genetic shift will not occur, right? And thank you so much.